Sindoor, a symbol of love, loss, and resilience.
In the wake of a brutal terror attack, India launched a mission to honor the fallen and deliver justice. Welcome to the story of Operation Sindoor.
Operation Sindoor was a military operation conducted by the Indian Armed Forces on May 7, 2025, targeting terrorist infrastructure in Pakistan and Pakistan-occupied Jammu and Kashmir. The operation was a direct response to the 22nd April 2025 terror attack in Pahalgam, Jammu and Kashmir, which killed 26 civilians, including 25 Indians and one Nepalese citizen. The Pahalgam attack, attributed to the Lashkar-e-Taiba linked resistance front, targeted tourists, particularly non-Muslim men, in a brutal assault at Baisaran Valley, a popular honeymoon destination. The attack was described as the most severe civilian-targeted incident since the 2008 Mumbai attacks, prompting widespread outrage and demands for retaliation. The operation's name Sindoor carries significant symbolic weight. Sindoor, or vermilion powder, is a traditional marker of marital status for Hindu women worn to signify a living husband. The name was chosen to honor the widows of the Pahalgam attack, particularly those whose husbands were singled out and killed, leaving them to wipe off their sindoor as a mark of widowhood. The Indian Army's announcement included imagery of spilled sindoor resembling spattered blood, emphasizing both the human cost of the attack and India's resolve to avenge it. Prime Minister Narendra Modi reportedly selected the name to humanize the victims and signal a tribute to their loss, shifting from conventional military nomenclature to a message of remembrance and justice. So what are the objectives of this operation? The primary objectives of Operation Sindoor were: 1. Neutralize terrorist infrastructure. Destroy terrorist camps and facilities used for planning and executing attacks against India, particularly those linked to the Pahalgam attack. 2. Deter future attacks. Send a clear message to Pakistan and terror groups like Jaish-e-Mohammed, Lashkar-e-Taiba, and Hizbul Mujahideen about India's resolve to counter cross-border terrorism. 3. Minimize escalation. Conduct precise non-escalatory strikes, avoiding Pakistani military installations to prevent a broader military conflict. Execution. 10. A date and time. The operation was executed between 1:05 a.m. and 1:30 a.m. on May 7, 2025, lasting approximately 25 minutes. Scope. The Indian Armed Forces conducted 24 missile strikes across 9 terrorist sites, with 4 located in mainland Pakistan and 5 in PoK. The operation involved coordinated efforts from the Army, Navy, and Air Force, utilizing air, naval, and ground-based assets. Weapons used: SCALP cruise missiles, long-range, precision-guided missiles deployed by Rafale fighter jets for penetrating high-value targets. Hammer precision bombs, highly agile modular munition extended-range bombs used to strike hardened infrastructure like bunkers and multi-story buildings. Loitering munitions, suicide drones. Kamikaze drones employed for surveillance, target acquisition, and precise strikes, capable of hovering to confirm targets before detonating. Tactics. The strikes were launched from Indian territory, primarily using standoff munitions to avoid violating Pakistani airspace directly. The Indian Air Force used Rafale jets, while the Army fired ground-to-ground missiles, ensuring precision and minimizing collateral damage. Targeted sites. The 9 targeted sites were selected based on credible intelligence confirming their role in terrorist activities, particularly those linked to the Pahalgam attack. The sites belong to JeMLeT and Hizbul Mujahideen, with 4 in Pakistan's Punjab province and 5 in PoK. The following is a detailed list of the targets. 1. Mark Autora Subhanallah Bahawalpur JeMLeT. Location: NH5, Karachi-Torkham Highway, Karachi More, Bahawalpur, Punjab, Pakistan. Significance: the ideological and operational headquarters of JEM spread over 15 acres. It served as a training and indoctrination center linked to the 2019 Pulwama attack, housed residences for JEM leadership, including Chief Masood Azhar and Deputy Abdul Rauf Asgar. Impact: satellite imagery showed significant destruction. Reports confirmed the deaths of 10 family members and 4 aides of Masood Azhar. Markaz Taiba Murid ke LeTTakedown. Location: Murid ke Punjab, Pakistan. Significance: a 200-acre fortified compound used by LE. T for indoctrination, logistics and planning. Associated with training for attacks like the 2008 Mumbai attacks. Impact: completely destroyed, disrupting a major LeT operational hub.
Trishi Makas Abbas Kotli. Location: Kotli PoK.
Significance: a hub for suicide bomber training and weapons distribution for PoK-based terrorists. Impact: neutralized, crippling JEM regional operations PoK. Sayyidina Bilal Camp, Muzaffarabad. Location: Muzaffarabad, PoK. Significance: an infiltration point and training facility for JEM sleeper cells, linked to the Pahalgam attack. Impact: destroyed, with significant disruption to JEM infiltration network. FAD. Shawai Nala Camp, Muzaffarabad. Location: Muzaffarabad, PoK. A significance: a training and launch pad for LeTTakedown terrorists involved in attacks in Sonmarg, Gulmarg, October 2024, and Pahalgam, April 2025. Impact: obliterated, hampering LET ability to stage attacks from PoK-6. Markaz Ahle Hadith, Barnala. Location: Barnala, Punjab, Pakistan. Significance: a support facility and regional logistics hub for LET. Impact: destroyed, disrupting LET logistical chain SIM. Location: Tehra Kalan, Punjab, Pakistan. Significance: a pre-infiltration camp for newly recruited JEM terrorists. Impact: neutralized, reducing JEM recruitment pipeline. Create.
Makaz Rahil Shahid Kotli. Location: Kotli PoK.
Significance: a training center for Hizbul Mujahideen used for planning attacks in Jammu and Kashmir. Impact: destroyed, weakening Hizbul Mujahideen's operational capacity. Memuna Joya, Sialkot. Location: Sialkot, Punjab, Pakistan. Significance: a key training and control center for Hizbul Mujahideen used to revive terrorism in Jammu and Kashmir. Located 12 km from the international border. Impact: destroyed at 1:11 am, significantly disrupting Hizbul Mujahideen's activities, casualties and impact. Terrorist casualties. Indian sources reported between 80 and 100 terrorists killed, with initial estimates suggesting 70-90 neutralized. Key figures included Abdul Rauf Azhar JE, M deputy and mastermind of the 1999 IC-814 Kandahar hijacking. The operation targeted high-value terrorist infrastructure, significantly disrupting JEM, LET and Hizbul Mujahideen operations. Civilian casualties. India emphasized that targets were selected to avoid civilian infrastructure. However, Pakistan claimed 26 civilians were killed and 46 injured, including a child in Bahawalpur, alleging strikes on civilian sites like mosques. India disputed these claims, accusing Pakistan of honoring terrorists with state funerals and flag-wrapped coffins. Pakistani military losses. Posts on X claimed damage to Pakistan's Chinese-made HQ-9 air defense missile launchers, though this remains unverified. India clarified that no Pakistani military installations were targeted to avoid escalation. Indian casualties. Pakistani retaliatory shelling along the line of control killed 12 civilians and 1 Indian soldier in Poonch, Kupwara and Baramulla districts, with 35 injured. 3 additional Indian deaths were reported in cross-border firing. Indian government response. Briefing. On May 7, 2025, Foreign Secretary Vikram Misri, Colonel Sophia Qureshi and Wing Commander Vyomika Singh held a press conference in New Delhi to share details. Mr. Misri highlighted Pakistan's links to the Pahalgam attack, citing the role of LET and its front, the Resistance Front. Qureshi confirmed the destruction of 9 camps, while Singh emphasized the precision and non-escalatory nature of the strikes. The choice of 2 women officers to lead the briefing was praised as a symbolic gesture, reinforcing the operation's tribute to the widows and countering Pakistan's attempts to frame the conflict as a Hindu-Muslim issue. All-party meeting. On May 8, 2025, Defense Minister Rajnath Singh chaired an all-party meeting to brief opposition leaders. Singh reported over 100 terrorists killed and emphasized India's intent to avoid escalation. Opposition leaders, including Congress Chief Mallikarjun Kharge and Rahul Gandhi, expressed unanimous support, with Kharge raising concerns about unverified reports of an Indian Rafale being shot down, which the government did not address. UNSC briefing. The Ministry of External Affairs briefed permanent and non-permanent UN Security Council members, including China's ambassador Xu Feihong, to justify the strikes as a response to terrorism. Public sentiment. Celebrations were reported in Srinagar's Lal Chowk, with Kashmiris expressing solidarity with the operation. Families of Pahalgam victims like Anil, a relative of victim Madhusudan Rao, thanked PM Modi, calling the strikes a step toward justice. Pakistani response: military retaliation. Pakistan scrambled jets and claimed to have shot down 5 Indian planes, a claim India did not address and which lacked evidence. Pakistani shelling along the Losi targeted civilian areas, causing significant damage in Jammu and Kashmir. Official statements. PM Shehbaz Sharif called the strikes a blatant act of war and vowed retaliation at a time and place of Pakistan's choosing, citing Article 51 of the UN Charter. The Inter-Services Public Relations (ISPR) claimed India targeted civilian sites, including mosques, and promised enduring grief for India. Defense Minister Khawaja Asif's claim of downing Indian jets was debunked on CNN when he failed to provide evidence to domestic measures. Punjab declared an emergency and hospitals were placed on high alert. Educational institutions in border districts of Jammu, Samba, Kathua, Rajouri, Poonch, Rajasthan and Punjab were closed. International reactions. United States. President Donald Trump called the clashes a shame and hoped for a quick resolution. Secretary of State Marco Rubio urged both nations to avoid escalation. United Kingdom. Foreign Secretary David Lammy expressed concern over escalation, urging dialogue. The British Parliament debated the issue, highlighting the conflict's impact on British Indian and Pakistani communities. United Nations. Secretary General Antonio Guterres called for maximum military restraint, warning against a nuclear confrontation. China urged restraint and cautioned its citizens against traveling to affected regions. Others. Bangladesh, Belarus, and Scotland's First Minister John Swinney called for de-escalation and diplomatic solutions. Significance and symbolism. Strategic impact. Operation Sindoor was India's third major punitive strike against Pakistan-based terror infrastructure following the 2016 surgical strikes, post-Uri attack, and the 2019 Balakot airstrikes, post-Pulwama attack. It was the most expansive cross-border operation since Balakot, demonstrating India's advanced precision strike capabilities and resolve to counter terrorism. The BC symbolic messaging. The name Sindoor humanized the Pahalgam victims, particularly the widows, and resonated with India's Hindu majority while appealing to nationalist sentiments. However, some feminists criticized the name, arguing it reinforced traditional gender roles within Hindu nationalism. Political unity. The operation unified India's political spectrum, with opposition parties rallying behind the government, reflecting national consensus on countering terrorism. Aftermath and ongoing developments. Aftermath. Yam escalation concerns. Pakistani shelling continued along the LoC, with blackouts enforced in Amritsar and evacuations in border villages. India conducted nationwide mock drills on May 7th, simulating air raids and blackouts, signaling preparedness for escalation. Some NIA investigation. The National Investigation Agency intensified its probe into the Pahalgam attack, appealing for public information via hotlines 965495 6 0112436 to uncover further details. To uncover travel advisories. The US, UK and China issued advisories against travel to border regions. 21 airports in northern and northwestern India were closed until May 10, 2025. Misinformation. Pakistan's claims of downing Indian jets and targeting civilian sites were challenged, with India accusing Pakistan of spreading misinformation. Critical analysis. While Operation Sindoor was hailed domestically as a decisive response to terrorism, its long-term efficacy in deterring Pakistan-backed terrorism remains uncertain. The operation's precision and restraint reflect India's intent to balance retaliation with de-escalation, but Pakistan's retaliatory shelling and vows of further response indicate a risk of prolonged tensions. The symbolic naming of the operation, while emotionally resonant, sparked debate about its alignment with Hindu nationalist narratives, potentially alienating minority perspectives. Internationally, the operation's calls for restraint highlight the delicate balance between addressing legitimate security threats and avoiding a broader conflict, underscoring the nuclear capabilities of both nations. Conclusion: Operation Sindoor was a meticulously planned and executed military operation that demonstrated India's advanced capabilities and unwavering commitment to countering terrorism. By targeting 9 key terrorist sites, neutralizing 80 to 100 terrorists, and avoiding Pakistani military infrastructure, India sought to deliver justice for the Pahalgam victims while minimizing escalation. The operation's symbolic name and the prominent role of women officers in its briefing underscored its human and gendered dimensions, resonating deeply with the Indian public. However, the operation also heightened India-Pakistan tensions, with ongoing shelling and international calls for restraint, signaling the need for diplomatic efforts to prevent further conflict.